Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode we ended up taking Amane to the infirmary, which had no doctor or nurse or whatever, which was very odd. So we ended up treating her ourselves, just a spray, nothing too bad. And then Amane was like, well, you don't want to date me, you should let me be your big sister. And we were all like, yeah, okay, that's cool, whatever. So now she's trying to do all the big sisterly things, like make us food and feed us, and it was just. And remember, we also had Makina as a little sister, so it's all very awkward and very uncomfortable. And with that, let's continue on. Just like any other school, the start of a recess period here means that someone runs off to buy drinks for the group. There was a similar system at my previous school, so the event itself is familiar. The fact that our designated gopher puts on a maid uniform for the task, on the other hand, is still going to take some getting used to.
それではお飲み物のご注文を受けたまわります。なんかいつも悪いわね。じゃあ私は冷たい緑茶で。
I feel a little bad, but I'm gonna still make you do it anyway.
いえ、自分の分を買いに行くついでですから。あまねさんは冷たい緑茶ですね。かしこまりました。じゃあ私はミルクティーね。はい、みちる様はミルクティーで受けたまわりました。私はレモンティーを。はい、いつもの無糖のものでかしこまりました。風見さんは何になさいますか？
What's available?
はい、大抵のものは何でも取り揃えてございます。
Anything, huh? I doubt that. In that case, I'll have University. Ah, that was a joke, get it? It was funny. I thought I'd just keep the tea combo going. I'm more of a reality type person, though.
いや、ねえからそんなお茶。
Or an honest tea. Or a personality. So many different kinds of tea. Hold the gum syrup.
ねえっつってんだろなあ。ユニバーシティ？ねえさっちゃん、そうやって何でも理解しようと努力するのはあんたのいいところでもあり悪いところよ。ユージもさっちゃんは真面目なんだからさ、変な冗談で混乱させないの。
Fine.
私はシンクロニシティで。
Ah, that's a good one. Ah, synchronicity. Nice. Way to go, Makina. High five. No? Okay. Oh, okay. Low five. You're kind of short.
ほら見なさい。頭の悪い子が真似してるじゃないのよ。
When you offer me anything, I think it's only natural to want to explore the limits. Okay then, I'll go with water. Make mine non-carbonated, please.
炭酸抜きですか？要は普通のミネラルウォーターでしょ？はい、それならわかります。マキちゃんは？じゃあ私は牛乳を。炭酸抜きで。いや、最初から入ってねえし。つか、なんでちょっとかっこよく言おうとした？今お兄ちゃんの真似。問題ない。モノマネは微妙だし、言ってることがむちゃくちゃだし、どこから突っ込むべき？
Why the glare in my direction?
あんたのせいでしょが。つまり普通の牛乳でいいのかな？一番うまいの買ってきて。わかった。それじゃあ一番美味しいの買ってくるね。
With those words, Sachi picks up the hem of her skirt and bows to us, then quietly leaves the classroom.
まったくもう、最近のマキナってば何でもユージの真似したがるのよね。まあこの子は昔から人の影響を受けやすいからね。ぶっちゃけ口が悪いのだってあまねからの伝染だし。私別に口悪くないもん。ただ思ったことは口にする、不満を溜め込まないタイプってだけで。だから
それが悪影響を生んでいると言っているのではなくて、
まあね、ここに来た当時のことを思えば確かに今の方がまだマシ。
What, was the girl even worse when she arrived here?
そんなことはないのよ。ただ、なんつうか、昔はもっとおとなしかったっていうか、それこそ借りてきた猫みたいに誰にも懐かなかったし、誰とも喋らないでずっと一人でお人形遊びしてるような子だったのよ。もう昔の話はもうええがな。
Anyone has a thing or two in their past that they don't want others to know about. And if you're attending a school like this, merely touching on the subject is probably enough to make some old wounds ache. There seems to be an established principle of mutual restraint when it comes to these sore spots. Our conversation shifts fairly smoothly away from the details.
結局何が言いたいかっていうと、昔の触れたら壊れそうなマキナに比べれば、自分じゃあんまり変わってないつもりなんだけどな。そう？最近はお豆腐も食べるようになったじゃない。豆腐？ほら、この子ってばひどい偏食家でしょ。気に入ったものしか食べないっていうか、果物とパンしか食べないような子だったのに、最近は何でも食べるようになったじゃない。だってお兄ちゃんが。
Having favorite foods is fine, but don't reject something you haven't tried. At least eat some before you decide to hate it.
って言うんだもの。
Experience is the most useful possible form of knowledge, a precious privilege reserved for those who manage to stay alive. Sometimes the most instructive and memorable lessons of all come from the deaths of your comrades. And I wasn't trying to preach to Machina, or make any complicated argument about her values. I just wanted to get across that ignorance isn't something you should cling to proudly. You're only embarrassing yourself when you insist that you hate some food that you've never eaten.
食わず嫌いがなくなるのは正直ありがたいけど、どうにもおかしなところまでユージに似ていくのはどうなんだろう。
For example?
だから言葉遣いだってば、なんか最近のマキナ少し言葉遣いが横柄っていうか、やけに尊大なのよね。誰に似たのかしら。
You're blaming me.
だって他にいないもの。
Hey Machina, seems you've been coming off as a little arrogant lately. Better watch your step, got it?
心得た。いや、だからそれがダメだっつってんじゃん。
I fixed the problem. What's the problem?
なんだとこの野郎。
I did not fix the problem.
なんで喧嘩腰よ。
まあこの子が他人の影響を受けやすいのは今に始まったことではないし、ポジティブな面を考慮すれば何でもかんでも抑えつけるのは良くないと思うけど。
たまにいいこと言うのよさ。やっぱ押し付けられる息苦しさを知ってる。
誰がよしこよ。私はユミコ。勝手に湯を省略した上に読み方を変えない。
そんなに怒ること？なんとかこういいところだけ真似させるってできないのかしらね。
I think the problem's with the sample she's working off, to be honest.
あんたがそれを言う？今の私がこうして元気でいるのもあまねえからは無駄な明るさを学んで、ユミちゃんからは本を楽しむことを通じて学ぶってことを教わったし、サッチンからは努力とか簡単に諦めない心ってのを学んだし、お兄ちゃんからは生きるための強さ、なんかそんなのを学んだのよさ。今んとこ学ぶところのないのはチルチルぐらいなのよ。ちょっとそれどういうことかな。学びなさいよ、あたしからも。ツンデレとか。何のためにっていうか、何のとこが。
Machina, saying what we're all thinking.
素でポカーンとしながら私の生き様全否定するのやめてもらえる？
大丈夫。ちゃんとチルチルからも学んでるのよ。反面教師として。
何よそれ。やっぱあんた私のことバカにしてんでしょ。
でも好き。
はあ？
チルチルのこと大好きだよ。だから大丈
あ、そうなんかよくわかんないけど。
夫。どう？散々バカにしておいて最後に好きって言って全部チャラにすんの。これってツンデレ？
あんたやっぱムカつく。
でも好きなのは嘘じゃないのよ。チルチル一緒にいると面白いし、バカだけど。
Makina pulls no punches, does she?
そうですか。それよくざんした。どうもありがとね。ああ、もうバカって言うな。バカって言う子がバカなんだからね。
Whoops, the break's already over.
あれ、さっちゃん遅いわね。何かトラブルでもあったのかしら。
What trouble could she possibly run into? There's nobody here.
電話してみればいいのではなくて？
Did she get lost?
あ、もしもし、さっちゃん今どこにいるの？駅のホーム？
What?
何してんのそんなとこで。はあ？北海道？なんで？ちょっといいから絞りたてとかそこまでしないでいいから。
What's this? What happened?
なんかさっちゃん一番美味しい牛乳を手に入れるとか言って、
Oh my
北
god.
海道まで行って自分で牛乳絞ってくるって。
Oh, that girl needs help. The devotion knows no limits.
とにかく今すぐ戻ってきて。は？飛行機のチケット？そんなの空席待ちとかしないでいいか。北海道まで行かなくてもスーパーに行けば北海道って書いてある牛乳売ってるからそれ買って帰ってきてね。
Okay, I think I might have been right about this one. Makina's personality getting warped might have been inevitable, considering the references she's working from here. Well, not to say that I'm any exception. Oh, what was that? Okay. I had assumed the job. Sorry. I had assumed the job of a principal mainly involved counting your school's money, then begging for more. That and signing off on paperwork you haven't really read. Judging from the way Chizuru has the free time to call me in the chat for no particular reason, even going so far as to make the tea personally, my guess may not have been that far off the mark. But, well, even if that's the truth of the matter, pointing it out would be no doubt hurt the woman's self-esteem. A good man knows when to keep things to himself, as my master put it.
それでどうかしら？もう
Not in the least.
何か不便でも？足りないものがあるのなら申請してくれれば。
That's not what I meant. I don't know. It sort of feels like I'm just playing the student for some undercover operation. I can't quite settle down.
そう？旗で見ている分には楽しそうにしているように見えるけど。
Well, I won't deny that. But sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of myself smiling in a pane of glass and just flinch. Ever so slightly. It's like I'm looking at someone else. It feels awkward. I just want to ask that guy, "What's so funny, asshole? Who do you think you are?" And before I know it, the smile's falling right off my face.
そういうもの？
Alright, here's a simple analogy. You know when you're having sex in a hotel and you get a look at yourself going at it in the mirror? And when you're just like, what are you, a monkey? The whole thing seems ridiculous, right? The same deal. You know, simple analogy.
余計にわかりにくいわよ。
Really? Okay, then let's try this one. This guy I knew told me a story about the time his parents caught him fucking a pillow in the middle of the night. In that moment, cursing his own idiocy, he longed for the release of death. I think that sense of shame might be somewhat similar.
その枕をレイプしたお友達の話、まだ続くの？
Curious, are we? It wasn't rape. He had the pillow's consent, I swear. I mean, he
そういう
swears.
ことを聞きたいんじゃなくてね。
I guess it was a turning point in his life. Decided that if he was going to kill himself anyway, he might as well die defending his country. Wait, how did we get on this topic anyway?
話を元に戻しても
Feel free.
あなたの事情はそれなりに理解しているつもりだけれど、私からはそのうちになれるわよとしか言いようがないわね。今この学園にいるあの子たちだって学園に来た当初は皆あなたと同じようなことを言っていたわ。
So they've all got their own circumstances, huh? I figured as much.
あなたがそうであるようにこの学園にいる子たちも様々な事情があってこの学園に来たのよ。そもそもこの学園が設立された理由もその辺の事情が少なからず関係しているわ。この学園に学生が6人しかいないのもまずはテストケースとしての運用という側面があるからなの。
Test run. But the nature of these circumstances isn't made clear to any of the other students, or so it would seem.
学生どころか講師にすらその辺の詳細な事情は伝わっていません。
Why?
部活に手を出すこともできないようなデリケートな事情を抱えた子もいれば、ことが公になれば日常生活に大きな支障をきたす子もいます。例えばあなたのようにね。学園の方針としては学生の自助努力というか、問題を抱えた学生を集めることによって学生同士で心のケアを行い自然治癒力を高めるというか。
In other words, you throw a bunch of losers together in the hopes they'll lick each other's wounds.
そういう言い方は語弊があります。あくまでも上からの押さえつけではなく、学生同士のつながりに重点を置いた教育を目指しているので。
Sounds pretty sounds pretty when you put it that way, but basically you gathered a bunch of rich kids who couldn't handle the regular school. Braked in a ton of donations from people with a guilty conscience about how their children turned out, then made up an excuse about healing in their own time. When no one improved no matter how much money you threw at the problem.
まあ、なんて人聞きの悪い。確かに榊さんやイリスさんの家からは少なからぬ助成を受けていますが、あくまでも規定の範囲です。今は学生の絶対数が不足しているがゆえに確固の負担が大きく割高感が強いというだけで、それに民間資本である以上、ある程度の資金運用は。
My bad. Let's stop talking about money. Whether I'm right or not, this is going to lead to a lot of outraged self-defense. And wherever the money's coming from, it's covering my free tuition, so I hardly have the right to criticize.
どこまで話した？
Why did you call me here in the first place?
別に何か特別な理由があって呼び出したわけじゃないわ。ただ単純にこの学園での生活に何か不都合があれば聞いて。
Like I said, there's no real problems. Just can't get used to this yet.
でもお友達はできたでしょ？
With some more than others. As you know, I'm not the most sociable human being, and thanks to my master's influence, I've got a bit of a sarcastic streak. It does lead to some misunderstandings. I guess you could say I've run into some minor communication problems.
警備かしら。私にはかなり歪んでいるように見えるのだけれど。
Beg your pardon? What do you expect in a school that's founded to collect warped people and fix them? Or maybe to sweep them under the rug? Whichever. Beating the flaws out of a warped sheet of iron, gathering the failed works and stuffing them into some dark closet. This place is more like a metal shop than a school.
どうしてあなたと話しているといつもこうなってしまうのかしら。
Didn't I just tell you? I have some issues with communication. I guess you might have been hoping that adding a truly twisted individual like myself would offset the others' warping and get them back on track. But apparently it hasn't worked out too well.
あなたがどう思うと勝手だけれど、私はそういった目論みがあってあなたをこの学園に招き入れたわけではないわ。
Gratitude towards the person who saved your life, is it?
そういうこと。
It was a coincidence that I was the one who saved you, and I was acting on orders.
でもあなたでなければああはうまくいかなかったと説明されたわよ。あなたがいなければ私は今ここでこうしてのんきにお茶を飲んでいることもなかった。
That's just something you arbitrarily convinced yourself of. Not to repeat myself, but I didn't save you on any special reason. For any special reason.
勝手で結構。私はね、
人に借りを作ったままというのが嫌いなの？それとも何か別のお礼が良かったかしら？
No, you've done more than enough.
確かにあなたの思っていた普通の学園とは少し違うかもしれないし、クラスメートに変わった子が多いのは認めるけれど、それでも私にはこれが精一杯なの。
Not a problem. Not that I buy every word coming out of the principal's mouth, but when you get down to it, a place like this is probably just about right for someone with circumstances like mine. Tossing the likes of me into a run-of-the-mill school wasn't a great idea to begin with. Pushing my way into a crowd of people with completely different values probably would have made for a tense and irritating experience. Alright then, are we done here?
そうね。何か不満があったらいつでも言って。全てに対処するとは言えないけれど、善処はします。
Got it.
そうそう。ついでに聞いておきたいのだけれど。
What is it?
あなたから見た他の子たちってどんな感じかし？
My thoughts?
別に難しい話ではなくて、なんていうのかしら。あなたから見たあの子たちの所見？例えば、あなたから見た榊さんはどんな子に見えるのかしら。
Sakaki, huh? Well, I haven't known her for that long, and honestly, I can't say that I have a particular firm rating on her. And to be perfectly frank, this is the woman who started Slash Nine with a box cutter out of nowhere. I can't say I'm that eager to get deeply involved in her. Alright. These are just my impressions, however. If you put it nicely, she's a rational type that doesn't waste her time. Put it harshly, and she's just apathetic. Unless it's blocking her way, the girl's not going to bother picking up something that falls down. That's just how she comes off, at least. And that applies to her relationships with others as well. Sakaki seems to avoid getting involved with someone unless she absolutely has to. She'll respond when you talk to her, but rarely joins the conversation otherwise. I guess you could interpret her quietness as an attempt to avoid hostility or attempts at intimacy from others, but I think it's partly that she simply doesn't understand how to build relationships of mutual trust. And if someone else tries to bridge that gap, she'll take it off as an intrusion on her territory and violently reject them. I think those are the major points. I've been consciously trying not to be pushy or intrusive with her, but, well, I haven't gotten that far.
なるほど。じゃあ、松島さんは？
Sure, huh? Oh boy. The girl's nuts. Sorry to say. The day I saw her wandering the dorm hallways, moaning with cling wrap rolled around her head. What kind of ritual is that supposed to be?
きっとブリーチをしていたんじゃないかしら。彼女、月に一度ぐらいのペースで髪を脱色しているみたいなのだけれど、その脱色に使う薬品が相当に痛いらしいのよね。
I see. At the time, I'd hidden myself instinctively and observed Michiru's freakish ceremony from afar, but it seems she wasn't wrapping foil on her head to protect from occult and mind control rays after all. Incidentally, is that her hair color allowed by the school regulations?
まあ、対面的には若干の問題はあるけれど、うちは私学だし、彼女の髪が著しく風紀を乱しているというわけでもないしね。どういう意味？
About what?
松島さんの髪の色の理由、何か聞いたの？
No, well, she said I'm a tsundere, so it has to be this way, but I don't know anything more than that.
何それ？ツンデレ？
Okay, to sum the girl up, she's just a genuinely incompetent human being. Although you might get distracted by that flashy blonde hair at first, it's not representative of who she really is. That coloration is actually a warning signal. By going out of her way to be highly visible, she's announcing to everyone who sees her that I'm poisonous, but in the end, it's nothing more than an empty threat. In other words, Michiru is so weak that she feels the need to project hollow menace in self-defense. The girl wouldn't last a minute on her own. She has to form a symbiotic relationship to survive. But she's also counterproductively cautious around others, and has a hard time trusting their charity or affection. In that sense, Sachi's a unique presence in Michiru's life. If you ask me, Michiru might be trying to figure out just how selfless can I be before Sachi rejects me, by slowly pushing her at the limits of her kindness. What? For the record, these are just my opinions based on what I've seen of Michiru, so I might be completely off base.
意外と深いところまで見ているものだからちょっと驚いただけ。
People do call me perceptive sometimes. When you grow up nervously watching the expression on other people's faces, you naturally pick up a habit of observing others.
そういえばあなたは確かお姉さんがいたのよね。
As she speaks, Principal Tachibana takes a binder stuffed with documents from her desk and begins flipping through the contents.
上に兄弟がいる子って上の子を見ながら育つから優れた観察眼が身につくっていうものね。
Well, that's not the only reason in my case.
それで他の子は？あ、そう。
Sachi, eh? Well, on the surface, she's just insanely serious about everything. Kind of an awkward girl, I suppose. I think she believes diligent obedience is her only redeeming feature. Guess you could classify her as a tortoise rather than a hare. But it seems more like she's decided that for herself. Like she's just given up on developing her talents any further. Basically, she's the type who thinks about resolving a huge problem over the course of 10 years of hard work. She seems incapable of even considering a search for easier methods, let alone turning to others for help. If you told her build a castle there, she'd start stacking up stones by herself. She's serious, honest, and follows any instruction she's given obediently, to the point where she's often seems more like a robot than a human being. The girl's faithful to her orders, but she doesn't think about efficiency when carrying them out. It's almost like she's punishing herself. If someone doesn't teach the girl to let off some steam, she's going to explode someday. It's not going to be pretty.
確かにそうね。あの子何を頼んでもいいですよ、わかりましたっていうもんだから、私もつい仕事頼んじゃったり雑用を任せちゃったりするし。
Try not to fall into the mistake of thinking, I've created an appropriate setting, so now I can just leave the students to take care of themselves.
痛いところをついてくるわね。私だって今のままでいいとは思っていないのよ。だからこうして定期的に個人面談という形であなたたちの意見を聞いているのだし。
So you've had this sort of discussion with others as well?
ねえ、そう。折を見ては面談をしたり、話すのが苦手な子には日誌を提出してもらったりしているの。
Diaries.
日誌というか、あれは絵日記に近いかしらね。
Knocking, is it?
ご明察。あの子の言葉は少し理解するのが難しいし、話をしている最中に何を話そうとしていたのか忘れてしまうようなことが多いから、思い立ったことを紙に記録したものを提出してもらっているの。あの子結構絵が上手だから面白いわよ。
I see. Yeah, in Machina's case, I think a diary would probably be more coherent.
あなたイリスさんとずいぶん仲良くなったみたいね。
Mine told me the same thing.
イリスさんはね、そうは見えないかもしれないけれど、日常生活に支障が出るほどの人見知りなのに。
Piece of cake. Just helped her get the hang of masturbation with little hands-on instruction. Now she comes by my room every night. Tough audience. It's a joke. Don't give me that look.
本当に冗談なんでしょうね。
If you ask me, Makina's kind of the exact opposite of Michiru. She plays up to her own weakness to take advantage of the protection of others, like her bizarre speech patterns and quirky habits. The aggressive way she cuddles up to people, all that. I think it's something she does by instinct to invite compassion from the strong. That sort of chick works on many men, but it's not going to make her popular with her own sex. Wouldn't be surprised if she's been bullied as a result. And the reason Makina's taken to Amane so much is probably because of Amane's unusually strong protective instincts. But I think Amane's large body and the oddly masculine parts of her personality are also a factor. If you want Makina to like you, communicate that you don't intend her any harm. Then demonstrate that you're strong, and she'll sidle up to you herself.
なんだか随分と歪んでいるというか、打算的な関係なのね。
I don't know about that. It's a fact that I don't dislike Makina, and she herself understands perfectly well that I've seen through her. Fact is, Makina's much smarter than she lets on.
そんな関係でいいとあなたは思っているの？
And that's not what I'm saying. For one thing, it's not like I can always be around and protect her. If you're completely convinced that someone's going to keep you safe at all times, you'll turn into the sort of person who can't do anything in a real emergency. Amani's enough if she wants someone to spoil and protect her. I'm trying to convey the value of independence and self-defense.
それはイリスさんのことを言っているのよね。それともこの国の未来について？
An interesting interpretation.
冗談よ。それじゃあ最後に。
Amani, huh? To be honest, she's the biggest mystery to me. Her painfully cheerful personality and burning need to help others are one thing, but I have no idea why she clings to me so persistently.
スオさん本人が言うには一目惚れらしいじゃない？
And that's what I don't understand. Seeing me walk by and your first thought is going to be, that's a suspicious character, and she's saying that she fell in love with me at first sight? She might be the most deranged of all of them. I don't have an answer. So let me ask you instead, what kind of woman is she?
どういうと言われても見たままよ。明るくて元気で一番年上だからしっかりしてるし。ちょっと待ってね。
Principal flips quickly through the document she's holding.
彼女前にいた学校を1年間休学しているから事実上はあなたの2個上ね。
Hey now, you shouldn't give away a woman's age like that. Pretty cruel.
いいじゃない。まだ若いんだし気にすることないわよ。
In that case, how many years older than me are you, Chizuru? What's the matter? You've inexplicably broken into a sweat.
あの子がこの学園に来たのは榊さんに続いて2番目よ。
I didn't ask you about that.
寮に彼女の引っ越しの荷物が届いた次の日、なんていうの？ほら、アメリカの暴走族が乗っているようなオートバイに乗って本人が学園に来たのよ。もうね、とんでもない子が来ちゃったってびっくりしたんだけど、まあ話してみれば普通の子だったわね。とってもいい子よ。
Alright, I get the picture. Guess I'll give up on the age thing.
とにかくみんないい子たちばかりだからこれからも仲良くしてあげて。
Can't make any guarantees, but I will put in the effort. Are we done here?
ええ、もう退出してもらって結構よ。
Alright then, I'll be going. I can't quite get used to my life at this school. I was being perfectly honest when I told Grisaia that my own smile feels awkward to me. A normal student life in a normal school. It's hard for me to believe how readily I'm accepting these small fragments of happiness. Or maybe, maybe it's hard for me to forgive. I don't think I'm really feeling awkward when I see that smile. I'm feeling guilt. It feels like foul gas gathered in my body, like my blood's turning black and viscous in my veins. A stifling sensation as if my lungs are slowly filling with cold poison. Look, do you really think this is what you should be doing right now? Vague, impatient questions dominate my mind. I feel a pressing need to do something, anything, but no concrete course of action presents itself. The principal tells me that I'll get used to this soon, but what good would that do, even if I could? No matter how I change, none of the things I've lost are ever coming back. Ever coming back. And with that, I'm going to end the video here, and I will see you all in the next part, so take it easy.